You're watching Fugitive Redeye, and welcome to another episode of Redeye Responds. This one's going to be a little bit different. It's going to be kind of like a Redeye Raw, but it's just going to be me with the camera here when I'm doing my response portions. And today I'm doing a response to Mudahar, Some Ordinary Gamers, who is one of my favorite YouTubers of all time. And this video is in by no way, shape, or form supposed to be anything bad about Mudahar. And for the most part, I agreed with the video that I'm going to be responding to, but there were a few points that I very majorly disagreed with, and I think that I need to point that out. So in this video, he talks about doxing, specifically this one girl who went and started doxing people online.
Sky doesn't outright, dox an individual, I would say. They drop their full name, where Kyle worked, and then you can understand the rest of the community goes pretty fucking apeshit on it. Now, the problem with that is when you're doing it that way, you tend to share information that may not be completely legitimate, because while there are people sharing actual racist tweets out there, and actual racist interchanges between each other, you come across people who come up with falsified evidence, sending it over here, and these people just retweet it out, and then what happens is, Sky doesn't outright, dox an individual, I would say. They give out a full name, where they go to school, and it's from that the audience over here, when you open up any of these tweets, there's people in the audience who are doing all the work.
Now, granted, he says that she didn't full-on dox, that she just gave their name and their workplace. In my opinion, that is full-on doxing. There is no line drawn there. That for me is doxing regardless. And she was doing it to try and fight racism or some shit like that, right? She was supposedly going after racists or something.
Now, it's where, like I said earlier, in the defense of Sky, I understand what her goal is. Obviously she's against racism. We all fucking are. And to her, this is just a way against it. She's calling people out for terrible fucking social media practices.
Mudahar basically implied that, the reason it was wrong was because she could be getting the wrong people, kind of like Kim started with that old man a few years back. Or that she could be, doxing minors.
And now, I understand the whole concept of it. I get it. Fighting against racism. I understand it. But when you're targeting kids, and when you're targeting literally involves you retweeting receipts from individuals that you yourself have not 100% verified, you've lost me.
I'm not the only one who's it would be wrong regardless, right? It doesn't matter who the fuck it is. Doxing is bad. You shouldn't dox people regardless. I don't give a shit if they're racist or who they are or if they're bad. You don't dox people. You don't fucking do that. And he did kind of imply that at the end where he said, you don't fight hate with hate, you fight it with kindness, etc., etc. But he never outright just condemned the act of doxing itself. In fact, he tried to say this bitch's intentions were pure, which...
I understand what Sky's trying to do. I'm not going to throw her under the bus, because I believe her intentions are actually fucking pure.
They're not. You're doxing someone and their workplace, and you're fucking going out of your way to say, look, this person's a racist, this is a bad person, we should get rid of him for wrongthink. That is never fucking pure. Okay, you only want bad things to happen to that person. Now, I get what he's saying. I get that he's trying to remain neutral. I get that he's trying to throw her a bone because she's fighting racism. And he also does bring into issue the context behind some of it, how it could just be edgy jokes and stuff like that.
But the problem with this cancel culture stuff is how decontextualized some of these situations are. While there are some legitimate, really racially charged people that she calls out, there's a bunch of other, teenagers or, minors or people who are just, really, they're not exactly, I would say, they're just making really stupid fucking jokes, really edgy tweets, and some of them, they're not actually, racist if you really, really look into it. Right?
Because, who hasn't made edgy jokes? But again, he just kind of implies that, if someone's saying some racist shit, it's okay. He doesn't say that, and I don't think that's how he feels, because he does ultimately end it by kind of implying that doxing is wrong by saying don't fight hate with hate. But, goddamn, just do not give this bitch any credit, okay? I don't care who someone is. Even if they're committing illegal acts, I don't agree with doxing. For instance, if you have evidence on someone for committing a crime, report that to the authorities, okay? That does not mean, oh, give their fucking address to a bunch of people online so they can go fucking harass them. No, give it to the authorities so you can have what's called due process. I am so sick and tired of everyone thinking that they fight for some fucking great cause, which I don't think they are, because I don't think systemic racism exists. There, I fucking said it. It doesn't. In fact, they're even going out of their way now to try and change the definition of racism in the dictionary because they keep losing fucking arguments, so they're fucking being little, oh, we gotta change the dictionary. But that's a whole other tangent. That's a whole other thing. Point is, I don't care if you actually are fighting for a good cause. You don't do this shit. It does not give you the excuse to be a Machiavellian asshole and have any means necessary, okay? The ends do not always justify the means, even if your cause was just, which, again, I don't believe it is. It does not make it okay, alright? And I love Mudahar, I do, and I do think ultimately he was against the whole doxing thing. Just his reasoning behind it with the whole, you know, oh, her intentions were pure, and, oh, it could be the wrong person. I mean, yes, those are it being the wrong person is definitely a factor, but even if it's the right person, just because someone thinks something fucking horrible doesn't mean you have the right to do anything against them. Because, believe it or not, everyone has rights. Everyone has the right to their own fucking opinion. And as long as someone's not hurting someone, I don't care. They can have those opinions. People can disagree with me. For instance, I don't think racism is a good thing. I don't. But I think people have the right to have that opinion, even if it's fucking garbage. Because at the end of the day, unless they're actually doing harm to people, which some of them do, let's get that out there. It can lead to that. But the opinion itself isn't necessarily them actually hurting anyone. Yeah, it's them being fucking retarded and being a little piece of shit, but that's not illegal. It's not illegal to be an asshole. But you shouldn't fucking go out of your way to, you know, target them and, you know, send fucking hate mobs after them. And I just disagree with it on the whole scale. It's not right. And doxing is never okay. I don't care who it is. I don't care what they've done. I don't care if they're a serial killer. I don't care if they fucking beat puppies to death, okay? You don't fucking do it. Have evidence of an actual crime, report it to the authorities. I've never been of the mindset of, oh, this person did something I disagree with, so now I target their job. Fuck you. And that fuck you wasn't directed at Mudahar. It's more directed at this hypothetical person I'm building up in this example that I'm sort of giving.
I don't believe it until I can connect to a server, refresh, and check it for myself. And I think the same level of journalistic standard has to apply to people who are willing to do this. You have to 100% verifiably know that the people you have sent a hate brigade on are actually guilty of the crimes that you've committed.
See, that's exactly the kind of thing I'm talking about. He says, you know, make sure the person you're sending a hate brigade on is the right person. No. Don't send a hate brigade on anyone, regardless. Don't fucking do that. Just because someone's a piece of shit doesn't mean you should be a piece of shit. And yeah, those intentions are never fucking pure. Again, if you're sending a hate brigade, as he calls it, then it's not pure, is it? Sending a hate brigade doesn't sound like the purest of intentions to me. I get that you might be going against someone you deem to be less than you, but that doesn't make it right. No, I just don't agree with the concept of it ever being accepted. And again, I do, by and large, agree with most of what Mudahar said in this video, because you shouldn't do that to people. But I take it a step further and say you should never do that to people. Be above them. And he does kind of imply that. Again, I don't want to say that Mudahar didn't say that, because he does. And he does kind of bring up that a lot of it was taken out of context, but I just don't believe doxing is ever right. It is never righteous, and it should never be done. I don't care who it is. Even if it's a criminal. Again, you have criminal evidence, report that to the authorities. Anyway, that's, I think, all I'm going to get at today. I love you, Mudahar. I do. But I'm never going to stand by doxing no matter what. I don't care who it's against or why. Anyway, toodles.